Dan.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit.
We're recording, you know.
Oh, shit.
We had a good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Berardi and Coke. A very delayed Berardi and Coke, might I say. That is entirely our fault. I'm joined this evening by the wonderfully follically challenged Gilly. How are you, sir?
Whose fault is it? I wasn't meant to be on it. I'm good, thanks. I've just come back from a run and I've had a massive curry, so I might fall asleep. But other than that, I'm fine.
Well, you just save it until Jay starts talking, probably. Who can't make it? In Jay's place, we have some random Bosnian truck driving sort of looking fellow who's fresh out of combing his hair from his ass, by the looks of it. How are you this morning? This evening, Jay? Are you well?
You're like some kind of arsehole, you.
It has been said.
Is that where it's comed from?
Do you remember before we started, I said I've had a really, really bad day, and now I've got to put with you? And
the worst thing you ever did. The
Do you
worst
know what?
thing you
just
said to me
just
this
had a
evening
bath.
was,
That's why my hair's not done. Because I've been that fucking stressed. I just needed to go away from everything for 15 minutes and boil myself.
So after you'd filled the sink and had your bath, do you feel better for it?
Oh, you give me too much credit, mate. I just got in the toilet.
Sounds fantastic. And of course, a special guest this evening was supposed to be the other half of the Leeds Bros, but we've ended up with a better half. What would you say, Dillo? How are you doing, mate? You good?
I'll take it. Thanks for letting me come on, lads. Yeah, debut here, so really looking forward to talking to you boys. Haven't seen you obviously since the Mayor Cup.
The game that shall not be named.
The one that was raised, yeah. The one that was
I had a great half time.
Final.
Oh yeah, Gilly, actually.
Half time was fantastic for me.
I forgot all about that, actually.
Why did you have a great half time?
Let's be honest, Gilly, it was an old little rub that Gilly got off myself.
Of course, yeah, you were sat there rubbing him. Rubbing him. His legs, should we say?
Calves and his hamstrings were...
No, hamstring. Yeah, I mean, I'd gone in for a big meaty challenge, which I won. Sliding in them torrid conditions, and pulled my hamstring, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake!
And the lemon that you are.
And it was a wonderful rub down that I got. You know, no taking away from that. 5 minutes into half. 5 minutes into second half, I've put my name on a ball and I've got absolutely nowhere near it. And Smarty's gone, for fuck's sake, Gilly, so I had to come off. I just couldn't run. Several times.
I that audible, to be honest.
Oh, no, I knew.
He was literally the first person to come in. As we're coming in, everyone's like, well done, lads, good half, etc. Gilly's like, Dillo, I'm on the table. I'm getting straightened out. Oh, madness. But sure, look, we got there. I think it was actually Luke. Shout out to Luke with the DP. He saw it, all the boys.
Yeah.
You got a bit of fan mail in the comments as well.
Cheers, Jamie.
From the resident Jamie. Hello, everyone that's in the comments. Keep them coming. Let's get some interactions going throughout us this evening. I'm sure you're all absolutely itching to go. We, of course, are going to convene and talk about the wonderful weekend that we had whilst we were down at the City Ground against Nottingham Forest. Or not so much, should I say. Let's get... First of all, and I like to do this usually, give me your thoughts, Jay, if you're with us.
I am.
Are you still awake? You still awake? Give us your thoughts about what you were thinking going into this game. Were you confident? Were you apprehensive? What were you expecting to get as beaten as we did, as outshone as we did?
Never in my wildest, worst ADHD medicated, drug fueled nightmares did I expect us to play like we played against Forest.
Drugs are bad.
Mate, it were fucking awful. I went into that game thinking a little bit nervous. It's a big game for both sides. We're kind of in trouble if we don't get something here. You've got to see a response after a performance like the one at Brighton. You just have to. So, yeah, I was nervous and apprehensive knowing that it could go either way, but I felt like we'd turn up and we'd give it a real good go. I felt like we'd go at them and look at them as a vulnerable side that we could go at rather than us being the vulnerable side. I can't even say it. Vulnerable side for them to go at. And, it completely went the other way, didn't it? We failed in every fucking area. We were just shit everywhere. And then we've got people on fucking Twitter saying that Goodmanson's not fit to lace Firpo's boots, and you just realise that everyone's fucking lost it at this point. It's just everyone's
Twitter brings the best out of the Leeds fan base after a defeat, doesn't it?
It's great for shit take of the week.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, this isn't the main pod. I think we'll be saving a few for next week probably. But Gilly, how did you feel coming into this one?
I thought we were going to get beat. You're coming off the previous result where we looked completely apathetic. In the build-up, Sky commentary team was saying, Leeds are going to come into this fresh. Brighton have got loads of injuries. Leeds are getting a full squad back, and going into it, they were saying, we expect Leeds to be at it from the start, and Brighton might struggle to cope. And we're absolutely the other way around. We were never in that game at all. We never looked like being in that game. Going into this game, I predicted a 2-1 defeat in Finalysis. Actually, what we really needed to do was be in a position where we'd put up a bit of a fight. I did not expect an easy game. Dyche has taken over. He's had, a week and a half, 2 weeks with them. I didn't expect them to roll over for the belly tickled in the way that they had done previously. So we'd caught them at a bad time. I expected them to get that bounce, which I think it did. Morgan Gibbs-White was in the side. He'd played through the week in Europe, and you're thinking, he's going to be getting back up to speed, but he also wants to prove himself because the previous two gaffers clearly didn't rate him because he wasn't getting in the side. I think he's quality, and I was saying one of the things that we absolutely must do is not give him time and space to get into the game. And I think if you look at the balance of the game and the shape, and we'll get into Farke and whatever else, but that was the one thing that I banged on about in all of the groups, in wherever we are in WhatsApp and whatever else, is the one thing that we needed to avoid was just giving him time and space. And what happened.
Yeah, it won the best performance, wasn't it? I mean, we can break it down. We'll go into it a little bit more, but I'll get Dillo's thoughts. So we'll go obviously around the houses a little bit. What did you think going into this game, mate? Were you like Gilly? Were you a bit pessimistic? Do you think we're going to get beat, or were you a bit more hopeful for a result?
I think it's false hope. At times you kind of think, will we do it? Leeds have the tendency to surprise us every now and again. Listening to the press conference, Daniel Farke, when Nanto coming back into the team, it kind of gives you that bit of, more of a threat on the wings, because at times we've been lacking in them areas. Obviously DCL being, the injury that he was carrying, in my head immediately, because I'm a Piroe lover, I'm immediately assuming that there's going to be a shake-up up top, which there was obviously with Metcha starting, which was good to see as well, don't get me wrong, but I'm looking along the lines of, it was the way the performance was at Brighton, that we can't go out with that same mentality, or yet again same team, or just, in general, and we just done the exact same thing. I predicted a draw. I said 1-1. But obviously in the back of your mind, you're always going to kind of think, with the form that's going on, it's another away game. You start to think the Leeds way, as all the rest of us would. So I think for me, there was a glimmer of hope, but I'll see that negative in the back of your mind as well. So I let down completely. I just think, obviously we're going to get into it. You talk about the man management of the game. You talk about, the substitutions. You want these changes to happen early, and I don't mean literally just the subs. I mean the bad habits that Daniel Farke is in.
Predictable habits.
Yeah, predictable, exactly. So it doesn't
I'm getting angry all over again now, thinking about it.
Sorry, Jay.
This is it. This is like the therapy, innit?
Oh.
So yeah, basically I just let down completely. Like a lunatic, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to come out of it. I'm trying to see the positives, but I'm finding it very hard to find them.
I've got a few stills from the goals that we did concede, but and I'm sure everyone else is of the same opinion. We seem to be conceding the same sort of goals week in, week out, and it's kind of becoming a little bit obvious. And it's obvious how to attack us, really. There seems to be, for me, a massive disconnect between the defence and the midfield. Some people are pointing it at Biol and even Perry, and obviously Rodon usually gets a bit of a clean exit from this, but a lot of fingers have been pointed at Ampadu as well, and to be fair, over the last few weeks he has been guilty of a couple of mistakes. Like I say, I've got a couple of stills that I'll bring him up in a minute, but after going up 1-0, I was quite positive. I was thinking, hey, we might actually put a decent performance in here. I mean, I wasn't pessimistic. I don't think for a minute that we were going to go down there and hammer them, but I expected to after the absolute drubbing we got by Brighton, etc. away, I thought we might actually turn up and try and make a performance out of this, try and be a little bit more defensively solid. And obviously, literally a couple of minutes after going 1-0 from a very well taken goal from Metcher. Let's be fair. Yeah. Let's try and get a couple of positives out of this, even though there aren't many. And a fantastic finish from him. I'm sure Luke will be absolutely buzzing with Aronson's assist, Gilly. I'm sure you are as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, what a player, what a star. But yeah, I thought, do you know what? We actually might make a good go at this. And then literally, we just seem to do what we normally do and turn off. So after a bright start, brief, although, very brief, the momentum just completely swung their way when they went 1-0 up. And I'll put these up because, like I said, it seems to be this exact same goals that we're conceding week in, week frigging out. So the first goal comes from this position, across from the right-hand side. You've got 1, 2, 3 players in front of Piroe.
It's outrageous.
Absolutely no man's land between. I don't even know that's on the right-hand side in the green boots. Can't see that. But yeah, you've got 3 people lining up just outside the 6-yard box, ready to just smash one straight in. You could throw a frigging blanket over those players. And it's the same goal. It's the same goal we seem to concede. Either that from a direct cross, and it's just like I say, it's scatter cash in front of the goal, or it's a header, which evidently we did frigging concede from as well.
Apart from that, sorry for cutting you off, Smarty. Just if you go back, myself and Darren done a similar thing with the cross actually initially coming in. Ampadu and Goodmunson are standing there watching them. You could probably say
ball watching,
as well,
classic,
to kind of track back in. But how he manages to turn, get in there and get the cross in, and then like that, you've Bial, you've Rodon, you've Longstaff at the edge of the box there, not watching their runners at all. So, I'm like Jay now. I am getting annoyed because that's something very early on in any lad or woman that plays football in your career.
Basics.
It's basics of football to watch the runners, and they simply didn't do that. And it seems to be an irregular occurrence, which is frustrating for a newly promoted side to try and become an established Premier League team, and we can't even get that basics right. So I think the way Jay just said it there, being annoyed, we've every right to be, because it's just simply not good enough.
It's hard to watch, though, isn't it? Because you can see it, you can see this happening in real time, and you're screaming, "Pick him up! Somebody pick him up!" And nobody does, and everyone stands, like say, ball watching, and gets bypassed, and suddenly it's panic stations. Everyone's trying to block. Keeper can't see what's going on. Bang! There's a goal in.
You hear people as well, and I've seen on Twitter as well, it's a breakdown in the communication. And theoretically it is, but it shouldn't be. These are professional athletes. This is it.
I don't think it's a breakdown. I think it's just a complete lack of. There's a difference between a breakdown and a complete lack of. Yeah. And like you say, a breakdown of communication you could understand. If someone's supposed to be taking after the runners or whatever, and someone else, has been taken out of position or whatever, like we saw with Goodmanson last week when for a similar sort of goal, he got taken out of position and played them ball through, and and they scored from that. But like if you look at the second goal, you've got Ampadu and Bial.
Just before we go on to the second goal, the thing that really frustrated me about the first goal, just reel off the names. You got Longstaff, you got Ampadu, you got Stack in midfield, you got Rodon and Bial at centre back, you got Bogle and Goodmanson at full back. All very experienced players. What's the one thing you coached when you're a kid and all the way through the ages of how you are most vulnerable when you've just scored? So you score a goal and then you keep it tight. You give out away. You don't let anybody run through. They took very, very cynical bookings because there's an experience level there of I need to stop this happening, and that's what we didn't do.
Our break.
Yeah, and both of their centre backs and their DM
yellow.
all had cynical fouls. I mean, we might come on to the fact that one of them should have been sent off, but that's what you got to do. You've got to be able to play. Ampadu's got that shithousery about him. Longstaff's got a lot of experience at this level. I'm looking at those players. Stop this move happening before it gets to the point where Ampadu's, inside the box or being turned inside out. Because if you let it build to that point, well, you fucked it already. And that's what we saw. But that was the most frustrating thing for me, is not just the running off and losing your man, and then their DM just walking into our box completely unmarked when we've got, like you said, you could have thrown a blanket over them. But those players should all know, right, okay, we've got our noses in front. Settle down. Don't give anything away.
Yeah.
Next 5 minutes, keep it tight. And that for me is one of the most frustrating things out of the entire match, because you just straight let them back in again.
A few of them have already come out and said that obviously they lost concentration, or that it was a lapse of concentration, you know, that led to the first goal. I mean, it's literally a couple of minutes, and you're exactly right what you're saying, Gilly. You know, it's again, we go back to those fine details. You're punished very, very quickly in the Premier League. You have to be absolutely on it. You know, we've gone from conceding really late goals in the first, half a dozen games or whatever, to now just completely going to absolute rat shit. For me, there doesn't seem to be enough leadership. I don't know whether, obviously, not for 1 second am I saying, replace Ampadu, but like you said, there's a lot of experience in there. Longstaff, Ampadu, there's some big players. Joe Rodon likes to have a shout as well. And obviously you've got Biol, who's, one of the best bloody defenders that we've brought in from the Bundesliga. You've got some big lads there. Anton Stack as well. We were kind of given that, right, we've got some big lads, we're going to be defensively so, we're going to be hard to beat, but it does not seem to be the case. Now, is that systemic? Is it down to the players, or is it a lack of leadership? I don't know, but something needs to change, because it just seems to me like, especially away, he just gone to absolute rat shit.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating.
Do you think, Smarty, that maybe Ampadu needs dropping? Because he's looked pretty shit in the last couple of games, despite the fact that we've always talked up how important he is to us. He's looked terrible. Spent more time moaning than he has making passes or tackles.
The second, I mean, I'm going to pull this second. Go on, Dillo. You're going to say something.
You go back to the Brighton game, Ampadu, obviously the cynical yellow card. It was just complete out of frustration that he got. About 5 minutes later, I think Brighton had a corner, went out of play. He picks the ball up and he's trying to rev everyone up, and it's kind of like you've just given away a foul cynically, out complete or utter frustration. Clearly, we're all going to be revved up. I know that from obviously playing with Darren, or just your mates in general. When someone gets a yellow card, they're revved up. You're going to get revved up with them. So, I agree, Jay. I'm not necessarily saying take the captaincy away from him, but there's a question need to be asked there. You go back to what I always say anyway. Like, every player on this team, one that doesn't even get started or even play it, they're all very important. Rotation is key for me personally. We're not going to utilise all them subs on the bench players. Even you could say down to Harry Gray. I know he's only young. I'm not saying start him. I'm just saying we need to start utilising every single player to get the best out of everyone. Keep playing the same squad, the same players. We're not going to get anywhere with it.
No, that's it. It's just
Clive with a positivity. He says, "Well, the under-21s are winning in the Sherpa Van Trophy at least."
Yeah, look at the next comment. Just as his name's been mentioned.
Yeah, but it's like
oh no, it's completely different level.
Is water wet? No, I mean, like, he's classy in Harry Gray. He's at that level especially.
Do you guys think with Ampadu, knowing the man that he is and the player he is, do you think as captain he's trying too hard? Do you think he's taking it quite personally, the results?
I hope he is.
That he thinks, I've got a responsibility here to sort this out on the pitch because I'm the captain. Do you think that's affecting him?
Don't see how it could affect him. He is the captain.
Pressure, isn't it?
For a reason. Yeah, it's pressure, but it's not really. I mean, at the end of the day, you're playing football. He's been captain for for the last couple of seasons. It's no different, really, pressure than what you would have had in the Championship. In fact, I dare say that the pressure was higher in the Championship because we needed to get out of that league. Yeah, at the end of the day, he's playing football against, yes, a higher quality of player, but he was one of the best sort of quality DMs in that league last season. So he should be able to do something. He should be able to rush over some of the best ones. I'm not saying he's the best.
I think he's pretty. He's by far our best defensive midfielder for me. And all right, he's quite young for a captain at this level. He was 23 last year. I don't know if he's turned 24 yet. But he's quite young to be a captain in the Premier League. But you accept the captaincy and you accept the responsibility and the burden that goes along with that. You don't have to be captain to be a leader, but you have to be a leader to be a captain. Yeah, and I'm looking for him to stand up and be counted.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't want to obviously, start throwing, throwing shade at Ampadu because he's one of a number of players that really are performing in the centre. Obviously Longstaff's come under a lot of criticism, as has Stack. I mean, he's really been off the boil. He's not doing anything compared to what he was doing. exactly, in the first few games and whatever. So, he's really come off the boil. Tanaka, sometimes he looks a little bit lost, but is that, like I say, is that a system thing? Because we don't seem to be playing the same sort of attacking football that we do. Granted, we're limited with what players we can do, etc., with injuries, etc. But it just, we seem to be lacking that identity. And I'm not expecting to be a gun-ho, all-out attacking team like we did when we were in the Championship, because obviously you have to negate the risk of being, caught out short and being, counter-attacked, etc. But we don't seem to have any sort of clue. We don't have an identity. Are we good? Are we a good, solid defensive team, or are we going to be more attacking? But again, from where we are, we need to be more defensive. We signed the players to be more defensive, and yet we don't seem to be more defensive. We're very susceptible to really cheap goals. So I'm really,
It's like we don't do anything well, though, like defence or attack when we're playing away, especially because when you're looking at the style and everything like that, the only style I can see is pass it back to keeper and try to defend and try to defend. There's no outlet. There's no, like, half of that game against Forest, we were booting the ball back up the field, either to their keeper or to one of their outfield players. There wasn't even a striker up there if we'd been defending. Everybody was back. There was nobody to break to. There was nobody to play to. We're kicking it aimlessly. There were one point where was it from a free kick or was it just an attack? But we had them pinned in their box. We're going at them. We're down the wing. We've got them. We end up going back to our keeper. And then when it goes back to our keeper, from this attack where we had them pinned in their box, he boots it straight to their player, back in their half. So we did their job for them. We defended their goal for them. We took the ball away ourselves, got it all the way back, then gave it back to them. And it's shit like that. And it's all the backwards passing. And it's the fact that when we're at the end of the game and there's a couple of minutes left, we're still going backwards. We're still looking for keeper. And it's just not good enough.
And that
I
seemed to be
understand being cautious at this level, but it's too cautious. It's just not good enough. It's the first time it's really pissed me off to this point.
That's something that we could vouch for, with the signings of the coming in, the midfield and the defence, that we were kind of, you could say, proud of. That was our structure for Leeds. We obviously know, towards the end of the transfer window, we didn't get the players we wanted. It was like panic. Names were coming up all over the place, sort of the scenario. But then you look at it, I think it's 15 goals against us. So we're not doing great then, are we, in the defensive? If we're all saying that our midfield and our defence is our best outlet for Leeds, and we're letting in and losing games like that, then the whole thing is sinking here at the minute, isn't it? Let's be honest with you.
Yeah.
As I said, 15
it's dragging
goals,
everybody down.
It doesn't look good.
It's the whole open play thing, in the first, half a dozen games or whatever, from an open play point of view, bearing, we'll keep Arsenal aside, shall we? But apart from that, apart from conceding the odd late goal from a set piece or just a lapse of concentration or whatever, from an open play,
Goodmanson's header against Fulham.
Oh yeah,
no.
Just simple stuff. Obviously they conceded late versus Bournemouth, obviously, and Spurs, etc. It's just like fucking hell, it's like kicking the balls. Those little lapses of concentration, it's those small details. And you kind of thought, right, we're going to learn from this, but we don't seem to have done. So we've gone from being solid from an open play sort of view to being an absolute shower of shit, all in the space of a few weeks. I don't understand. I don't get what's gone so wrong. The lads seem to be completely.
Do you want me to tell you?
Confidence. Yes, go on.
Enlighten us.
Dan James got injured.
Yeah,
is the key to everything.
Well, no, it's the fact that we're playing with 10 men because Aronson's on pitch.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's a knock-on effect, isn't it?
Obviously, when you've got an outlet like Aronson who doesn't really do much apart from.
We don't carry a threat.
He played all right.
It's unfair to say that we don't do much because of him, but the running round, whatever else, Luke bigs him up, thinks that he's brilliant, but my problem is we don't carry a threat with him. Bogle looks shit now. He's completely off the boil, but he never passes Aronson the ball. He doesn't want to. DCL doesn't.
His energy because as soon as he passes on the ball, he'll either lose it or he'll pass it inside, and they'll probably lose it, or he will, like you say, he'll just recycle it, or
stop and pass it back to centre back to our keeper.
Exactly.
So we don't carry a threat. There might be a little bit more ball retention. That's poor at the moment anyway. But at least if we're carrying a threat, if Bogle looks like he's wanting to get on the ball and get forward, if we've got a winger in front of Bogle that actually will get on the ball and drive it forward, it puts doubt in the mind of the defenders. Can I get forward? Well, actually, if I'm a fullback and I'm playing against Aronson, I'm loving life because all I need to do, I can attack all day. Because if I lose the ball, what he's going to do is going to give me an opportunity to get back in because he's going to stop and pass it back to centre backs.
It is, yeah.
So
it's
it makes the game easy. It is. It really is, and it brings everybody else down. And I'm fed up of talking about him. I just want him gone. But it is that thing for me. Is as you said, Arsenal aside, we played all right against Newcastle. I thought we deserved something against them, and we got it. I thought we played fairly well against Everton. Opening game at season, you can't be too sure. Arsenal, whatever. Fulham, I thought we should have won. We lost on a very, very unlucky late own goal. Wolves, it's very difficult to provide a yardstick against because they're fucking abject.
Bournemouth should have beat.
Yeah, Bournemouth, arguably, we should have beat. Spurs was unlucky not to get something from. And then it's gone to shit since, and you can't put it all on one person. Well, you can put it all on one person, but it's not Aronson that you put it on; it's Farke, because I don't think he's reacting to a situation. Now, there's still arguments that people are saying, well, he won't backed in the transfer window. I think there's legitimacy in that statement.
100%.
But we are here. We're going into a very tough run, and we've not maximised the points potential from an easier run. There's no easy games in the Premier League. But it don't get much more difficult than Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea. Chelsea have started playing, and they've got some quality players that can beat you on their own. So I think for me, it's unlikely that we'll see a trigger pulled. I think in this international break, you could do, but I don't think we will. But I can't see him getting to Christmas having been poor in the last few games, and then that run that we've got. Even going down to Brentford are playing fairly well, and we get fuck all down there. The only time we've ever got anything, if you remember, is when we really needed to avoid relegation.
Belushi scored. Was it Brentford Belushi scored against?
Oh, no, it was after that we got a result. It were Calvin, Harrison. It was the tail end of the Rafinha season.
Of course, yeah.
We had to get a result, and we went there and got something.
Our good old friend Harrison with a wonder finish.
But it's it's unusual for us to go. We're in London, aren't we? That's the difference. Good old Colin. It's unlike, but for me, I think I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I like Farke, but it looks like he's coming up short. But I've got absolutely no faith in the ownership getting the right person as a replacement either. So what do you do? Stick or twist? Don't know. But I don't think it's good either way.
I'm kind of where you are, Gilly. I don't know. It's like we didn't get an attacking player that he wanted, or we didn't get two attacking players. So why is the defence shit? And if you don't get the attacking players you want, you're still going to have 11 players out there. So you should still be trying to create chances for the players you do have. Whether you think they're going to put them away or not, maybe not. But you want to be creating chances for whoever's in those attacking positions, regardless of who they are.
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're just not doing a good job of that.
I think for me, though, you go back to the transfer window itself, and I'm not talking about even the incomings here. I'm talking about the outgoings. Like, you have Harrison there, you have Melier there, you have obviously Max Ober, obviously he's on loan, Ramazani, like all this sort of, we don't want them sort of narrative, like Ramazani, for example. But why get rid of him if you could say he has that kind of flair, he has that ceiling that's so high, for the Premier League, whether Farke and him didn't get along, I don't know, but these are the types of bad mistakes for me that the 49ers are let down, or Daniel Farke, wherever it is, that, and then we can keep blaming the recruitment side of it. It is what it is. It's done, and we move past it. But it's the manner that we're playing in. It's the performance itself. You can keep picking the same side. We're going to come up against different sides all the time. But going back to Aronson, Gilly, I agree. I really do agree. And there's times. He gets the ball and he has that kind of low center of gravity, and he dribbles so well, and just that split second, just release the ball that bit quicker, and he doesn't. He gets shut down. They have the ball there on the attack. So it's just them little fine margins that need to be, tweaked a little bit for him to bring that to his game. And he just tries too much, similar to Ampadu at times. What you said there is a big, massive weight on his shoulders. But the team for me at the minute is all over the place. The fixture of games that are coming up, they don't look good. They certainly don't look good. Now, I've said this before loads of times, and Darren, he's starting to kind of come around and believe me a little bit. Leeds seem to always put it up to the big dogs.
Yeah.
The top
Liverpool
6,
under Marsh.
Yeah. So
10 men against Man City.
Exactly.
I'd feared that Man City away fixture for ages because it looked like we had to go there and get something, and then we did. It was just ludicrous that we went there and got something, especially after Cooper got sent off.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Loved it. But yeah, look,
It was great.
I think I'm more or less the same as you, Gilly. I don't see how Sack and Farke, and I'm not saying like I've said it on my own videos. I want them to go because I don't see how we're gonna get out of this sort of narrative. But at the same time, we bring someone else in. We've still the same players, with the same back on board, as if that's what you want to say. So I don't understand how we're gonna get out of this. It's simply a rut that we're in, and see what happens.
I've
Gareth Southgate lives just north of Leeds.
Well, there's obviously David Silva as well being sniffed around in it. Apart from he might be exiting Fulham. We'll get into that in a little bit.
I would
You said David Silva. Do you mean Marco?
He did. He meant Marco. I wasn't going to say out.
Of course.
I nearly didn't say it because I'm usually wrong. So it's only because I read it earlier today. I thought,
pull me up. It's not like you guys to pull me up like that.
It's
not like me
just
getting someone's name wrong.
Richard asked the question, when did Dan James last start? I think it was Newcastle, because I think he came on having had a bit of an injury against Fulham, and that's when he pulled up, having pulled his groin. He came on 70-odd minutes and then went off for Willie Gnonto about 10 minutes later, didn't he? Because he really pulled up and looked in a bad way. So I think it was Newcastle, and that's coinciding for me with a lot of the struggle we've had since.
It's one of them, innit? I mean, for me, even if you're going to get 60 minutes out of Dan James, you start Dan James over Aronson. And the bullshit that he came out with, afterwards or whatever, and he said it's performance based on his team selection. Fucking come on, man. Really?
He's definitely not.
He's not the best winger in the league. But he's a great asset for us. And if you've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the middle of the box, Dan James has a good cross to the ball, and he links up well with Jaden Bogle. You've got two players,
and he'll get on balls that DCL wins.
Yeah, he will, exactly. And to have those two, it's a great out ball as well. Like you say, from a counter attacking point as well. Dan James is like a frigging speed train, and I just think, fucking hell, Aronson. And like I said, Dan James isn't the best right winger. He will attempt to take people on. Sometimes he will succeed. He's better, obviously, with a bit of momentum, and he's able to push past players or whatever. But Aronson is it's just a lose-lose situation with him. And like I said, I didn't want to turn it into an Aronson bashing match because they were all relatively poor. And inevitably, we were going to come on to the whole Farke debacle anyway. But I tried to think of some positives and some negatives. I think from a fan base point, obviously you only need to glimpse on Twitter or X or whatever you call it these days, and there's quite an overly high reaction to it that people's minds have been changed and are looking at, most people want him to go now, or potentially, go in the next few weeks, because I really don't see him getting any sort of results in the next 6-7 games, especially up over Christmas and beyond. There's a really, really tough string of games coming our way. Do the board see that and think it'd probably be stupid and maybe naive to put a new manager in at this point? Do we let Farke take the damage, take a bit of a pummeling, and then look to, bring in a new manager in the new year? There's obviously a lot of different outcomes we don't know. Obviously, we'll have to suck it and see. But when I've actually looked at it, I thought there's arguments for sacking him, and then there's arguments for keeping him. Not many for keeping him, but there's obviously arguments to and for. For sacking him, the results are obviously the results speak for themselves. We look flat. They're not put together any sort of convincing performance in weeks. We go 1-0 up and then completely go batshit mental and fucking lose it within a few minutes. And it's all gone to absolute rat shit, as we've already discussed. The game management, it's on the manager for me. I mean, some of the substitutions that he makes are absolutely obscene. The Harrison substitution still, 3 days later, I still can't get my head around it. I think it was
on the bench.
Yes, he was, yeah. Yeah, I can't get my head around it. I can't get my head around it because I would much rather see Bogle on the right wing than fucking than Harrison. Or
I think I can understand why he done it now. In a scenario where I don't agree with it, I'm just saying the vision that I'm assuming that he was going for was to start hitting balls into DCL. But he's at left back. He can't defend. He can hardly run at the minute. You know, Hutchinson had him in his back pocket. And every time Hutchinson had the ball, he was looking to go.
Absolutely went past him like a hot knife through butter.
It didn't make sense.
Now that's Jay's fault. That's absolutely Jay's fault. Now you guys won't know this because I'm in a different chat with Jay. But Jay went, look at fucking state of Hutchinson. He looks like a cat without whiskers. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Balance of a cat with no whiskers or something.
Now,
whiskers
have got fucking nothing to do with balance anyway. That's a load of bullshit. Look it up. It's a load of bullshit. They use the tail for balance. They use the whiskers for judging gaps and whatever else. So you're full of shit on that anyway. But the second you had a go with him, he got an assist.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wasn't blaming Jay the way he plays. The way he plays. I was saying that he kept hitting the deck. I said he were like he had no balance because he were throwing himself over. I was talking about him throwing himself on the floor.
Yeah, well, you're still full of shit because cats don't use the whiskers for balance.
We've got
Metcher annoyed me for that.
Jack Harrison as a frigging substitute to talking about cat's whiskers. I mean, that
is true. but Metcher annoyed me for that. He spent a lot of the time on the floor, especially in first half. Yeah. You know, backing in, tiniest little bit of a touch.
Very Alan Smith way of trying to draw a foul in it. Smith used to do that. He used to back in and grab all the players behind him. Yeah, he did. You haven't seen that for a little while.
Yes, Scooby. Yes, we are. Welcome to All Know Better.
But yeah, I just think the substitutions are just fucking so predictable. Like I say, they seem to be reactive rather than proactive a lot of the time.
No, they don't even seem that.
Oh, you're not in that one, were you?
They're not reactive.
I'm back
if
now,
they were if they were reactive, then when we can all see that it's not working and it needs a change, he would be able to react to that. So it's not positive because it's not in advance of it managing the game, and it's not reactive because he doesn't react to issues on the pitch. It's predetermined.
That's right.
That's the issue. It's predetermined. It's 70 minutes. I know what changes I'm making, and it doesn't matter what's happening in the game and what needs managing. I'm going to stick to those principles. And when Bielsa stuck to his principles, it were plan A. Whatever Clive says, it were plan A, and plan B was make plan A better.
Yeah,
that was it. And he stuck to his principles, and it worked. Farke sticking to his principles doesn't.
What I was saying from a reaction point is that the typical reaction from Farke when we're backs against the wall, etc., is to stick a load of fucking strikers and attackers on. Six up front and go hell for leather.
That's Southgate ball again.
That's his usual reaction. Fuck, it's all going to shit. I'm going to stick all the strikers on, which has worked once away at Norwich, I think, ever when we won 3-0.
It's a Hail Mary, isn't it?
I think, exactly. It's an absolute shower of shit in it, really.
But
the substitutions are absolutely wank.
Deutsch made them substitutions knowing that he needed a shake-up. You could see it. And
but
as soon as
they were. I'm sorry I'm talking over you, Dilla, but from Dyche's point of view, as anyone with a fucking scrap of common sense knows, I know that Daniel Farke is going to make a substitution at 70 minutes, 65, 70 minutes. So if I bring someone on in the 60th, which they did and this fucking scored from, or did they score? When was their second goal time?
Hutchinson's crossing to an all on his own Morgan Gibbs-White in our box, never mind in midfield.
Yeah, fucking hell. Well, I like to say I had a slide for that. And friggin' Ampadu would just trotting back, looked over his shoulder once, and then just, it's here. He's friggin' here. There's two of them. There's Biol on the left-hand side who was watching their attacker who was about to skin him. And Ampadu doesn't even follow his runner. He just fucking stands there. Dink.
It's unreal, that. Farke should have nightmares about that.
How the fuck is them two players? They're literally set in concrete. He's gone from that to the ball being whipped in. The ball's if it's not even the ball's in obviously the center of the frame. You can't see it because of the crowd. It's gone from dink. Oh look, I'm free in the box. Bosh.
Oh, stop!
Smarty, I'm actually not going to sleep tonight. I was trying to block that out.
Make it stop.
That's really like,
this is why I didn't want to do it on Sunday because I went. I'm fuming. I'm absolutely furious.
You'd have got no out of me on Sunday, mate. I'd have just been sat here in a pure rage for the entire thing.
Yeah, but that's
there just checking.
That's the best thing about it.
Sitting there just stroking your whiskers.
Pretty much, I'd just be throwing like fucking Farke.
Falling over because they're not to do with balance.
That'd have been Sunday.
Don't make me angry. You won't like me when I'm angry.
Out a window. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll go around the room, Farke out or whatever. But tactically, we're starting to feel predictable. Obviously, as build-up is very slow. It's cautious possession, which we never used to have. It used to be relatively good and well-controlled possession. We don't really have any cutting edge. It's all too measured. We're missing that like high intensity. Like I said, that sort of DNA, that identity that we used to have. It's just gone to shit now, and we just feel like I feel like the players don't really know what to do once it starts going a little bit pear-shaped. And like I say, once he makes changes, there's little to no effect. And all the momentum seems to just get drained out of the lads. I don't really have much more to say. I mean, that's obviously enough's enough, and like we're not going to get much out of these next few games. So I think it's the time is ticking for him.
We're not. Do you want to bring somebody in like now and risk like wasting the new manager bounce on hard fixtures? But if you don't do that, then he gets some results. Then you get the Jesse Marsh scenario again. So what do you do?
It's one of them, innit? Like you say, you bring someone in now and look to to get a bump. Maybe they do perform well in a couple of games. Aston Villa's going to be an absolute must not lose now. We're at home, thankfully, where our form seems to be a little bit more favourable. Yeah. But, you look at the fixtures after that, and there is some really, really tough games, and some really good quality teams that will absolutely destroy us. They'll just crush us because we're so vulnerable in defence at the minute. Or do you wait for Farke to take the blows, get rid of him, and then the team's confidence and morale are just absolutely on their ass, and he's got an absolute hell of a job to try and build them up. So,
does anybody here think Farke sorts it out and we start playing all right, or is everybody like, have we all passed that point?
That's like dreams for me, and then obviously like smack bam reality hit you in the face sort of scenario. But I haven't thought about it. I really have, seriously, but I just don't see how it's going to work. I'm trying to be positive, as you said, Smarty, but. We're in a scenario now. We get rid of a manager, and as Mary said, players' morale, confidence, everything is shattered. And then in the back of my mind, I'm kind of saying, we've seen it over the 2 seasons that he's been here. He usually starts off rough and then starts to get results. Maybe is he switching it? But then I'm like, he's not a magician. Dylan, just come back down to earth. So I don't know. I simply don't know. For me, at the minute, there's not results going the way. My club is not going in the right direction at the minute. Me personally, I don't. Not that I don't want them to do well, but I think it's time, personally.
I think a lot of fans are starting to think that way. I mean, obviously, the Farke outs are absolutely rolling in the glittery stuff, aren't they? They're absolutely loving it, making jellyfish in the bath, etc., etc. The overexcitement. I mean, I think Bryn, one of our usual viewers, who hasn't been in the chat tonight, actually, I thought he might do. He would been absolutely jizzing his knickers at the fact that everyone seemed to be more on the.
Do you want me to tell you his takes?
The reason.
Oh yeah, he wanted Big Sam.
I was going to say, I suspect Gilly's going to tell you why he's not. He wanted
Big Sam.
He knew he'd be called out if he came on.
I'm going to message him. I'm going to message him. I'll bring us on to the next week. So, like I say, I did have some Farke out stuff, and I've got some Farke in stuff. I'm really not Farke in, but I've just looked at the positives or the the argument against sacking him.
You're playing devil's advocate.
I'm trying to, because obviously, you're trying to be a bit. Because I like him. I wanted him to succeed. I think we all wanted him to succeed after the last couple of seasons. Last season were fantastic. We ended it with a parade, etc. It was just some really good vibes. We started out well. We started okay this season, but like I said, the last few games you've just been fucking hell. This is predictable. And then some of his formations and so you just think, fuck me. Someone with half a brain cell could get a bit better tick out of these. But like I said, there's the other side of it. Leeds have had 4 managers. in the last few years, which obviously Farke brought in to steady the club, rebuild from relegation, which has obviously been no mean feat. It's still a developing squad. He has been kind of done over with his options from the benches, obviously attacking options as well. The less said about that, the better. I think we've done that to death. But obviously, you were asking for more guys, for more quality up front, and he didn't get it from the board. And as he openly admitted, he said he was going to be he was going to struggle. Some of the performances haven't been disastrous, as we've said. We do create good spells here and there. Again, that first goal from Metcha, just that little glimpse of something. You think, fucking hell, they can actually do it when they try, and then something just happens, and then they switch off, and then it goes to absolute shit. But like I said, there aren't very many things going for him. There's not much to say against sacking him. But like I say,
I've got a couple of arguments against sacking him.
Go on then.
Russell Martin and Steven Gerrard.
Oh, you mean these are the options to potentially replace him with?
Yeah, that's an argument against sacking him, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Who's actually, when you think about it, any sort of manager that's worth the salt is going to look at this squad and just go, well, that's a bit of an ask. What am I fucking going to do with Brendan Aronson? Because not everyone will have that sort of thought process about Brendan Aronson like Daniel Farke does. So he's probably going to get benched straight away because his output's absolute shit.
I mean, likelihood is they'll go talk to Brendan Rodgers. Gary O'Neill turned down the Wolves job. Out of all of the people that have been discussed, he's the only one that I'd have any kind of inkling of might do all right. Yeah, he's had a decent track record. He's still quite young, and would be still kind of learning the ropes, I guess. But he's done quite well at the clubs he's been at. But he looked at Wolves and were like, can't deal with that. I mean, that's not how we said it on Sky. Fair. No. But, he'd been there before and loves the club and still went, that's not for me. So whether we'd even be able to get him in is difficult. Now, when we're talking about him potentially going now, I think the likelihood is Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, we don't get anything. And that doesn't hinge on the manager. The odds of us getting anything out of them are difficult. The daft odds. On the principle that it doesn't matter who your manager is, it's very, very difficult to get anything out of them fixtures. But especially the run that we're on. So I think the point I think both Smarty and Jay you both made is it doesn't really add up to get rid now. Because unless you put a caretaker in and then bring somebody else in, you're putting them into a situation where even if they had a good run at it, and even if they had a fit squad, and even if they were on form, it's unlikely that you get anything from those games anyway. So, I think it would be mad for him to go at this point, unless what you were going to do is buy a little bit of time, put a caretaker in, Scooby and the kids, go in against that the scum, do whatever. But which they might well do, and you might get get Stewie D in, get Stewie D for 3 or 4 games to give us a break and have those conversations. And I mean, what does Jay know?
Michael says, according to Jay's statement recently, there's nobody around that wants the Leeds job.
I didn't mean that to sound as harsh as it did. What does Jay know?
I'm going to clip it and send him it.
What I meant is, it's not like he's in the board seeing any of the responses.
Exactly.
Do we know we've even approached them?
Fucking hell. This might be shit take of the week, this, Richard. Jesus Christ. Smarty, Gilly and Jay. Jay needs a caretaker full-time himself.
No, I'm all good now. I'm medicated.
So, I think for me, there were options. Those options have kind of been snapped up by the sides in and around us because they've all pulled the trigger. They're all very worried about the impact the promoted sides have had, because the sides that had been circling the drain for a while, Wolves, Everton, Scum, Spurs, the really shit teams, they've got away with it on the principle that the promoted sides were so abject there was no risk. So they could do whatever, and were convinced that they were going to have Premier League football the next season anyway because it was that bad. This season, Sunderland are pushing for Europe in spots that they're in at the minute. Burnley have had a decent start, and we had too. But we were odds-on favourite for the drop. Before the season kicked off, we were odds-on favourite for the drop, and we're still not in the bottom three, 11 games in. So, there are aspects there where those other sides have to make changes quickly if it's not going well for them, because this is the one season where they're not guaranteed to stay up, purely on the principle that the promoted sides will go back down.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse. It could be worse, but it's the pattern, isn't it? It's the downward trend of the performances. That's where the worry is, really. There's a chance to turn this around, but the performances are terrible.
Mark's Mighty White says, if you keep fat till January, we'll definitely be in the bottom of the top three. That'd be a fucking fine chance. Be in the bottom three. How do we attract a decent manager then? It's not just that. It's, with obviously limited, fucking all the punctuation. With limited funds to spend in the January transfer window as well. It's not a real. It's not.
Well, do we think we've got limited funds?
Well, apparently we don't. I mean, we obviously had a couple of million knocking around to spend on Harry Wilson right at the end of the transfer window when that went absolutely tits up. However, apparently we don't have enough, loads of money to be able to obviously implement any sort of real changes and get any sort of quality, unless
we were linked for more than 10.
Market.
But we were linked for more than 10, weren't we, for Harry Wilson? So that money has to be there. But I think there's also an aspect of, because you're on a rolling 3-year cycle, that summer drops off. So there's potentially a bit more there because we'd spent quite a bit in that summer. That now it runs on a financial year basis, so it depends on where your financial year runs to. But you're also in a position where we all add more than 10 million, and Piroe's not playing, and he's pretty much guaranteed goals in the Championship. And there's going to be some sides that have got money at a Championship level that are going to be desperate for goals. So do you know what? Piroe's not playing. Metch's in front of him. DCL's in front of him. Get him gone and get an actual 10 in, which is the only position that he's got any chance to get into unless DCL and Metch are unavailable. And before him, when Nonto's back, I'd play Nonto in a 10 in front of him. I'd play Okafor in a 10 in front of Piroe and put Nonto wide if he's fit. So, there's all sorts of options that we've got if we've got a fit squad, and Piroe's not leading the charge for any of those positions in my mind, but especially while we're playing free in midfield. That flat free in midfield does not give any scope or room for Piroe to play because he's too passive in the way that he plays football. He's a good finisher. We've seen that he's a good finisher. But it's not enough at this level to do that. You have to be able to get around the pitch. You have to. DCL doesn't get around the pitch and doesn't. He's not the quickest player. He's a bit of an athlete, actually, more than I thought he was, but he doesn't get around the pitch in the way that Metro does, for instance. But Piroe's a million miles away from them both. I can't see him getting in. But you could, I think, fairly easily look at 15 million coming in for him. We're a Premier League side selling a player. We can pretty much dictate up to a certain amount. And if you look at the madness that is the Championship this season, there's going to be some sides that are going to be crying out to get some goals into their team.
Someone's going to be eyeing up Piroe, definitely.
I think so.
Like you say, any sort of recruitment that are relatively worth a salt are going to be looking at Piroe sat on the bench thinking, that's a bloody good striker there we could utilise in the Championship. They're either going to be going for a loan to buy or whatever, etc., etc.
But the only way we get any value over the course of the rest of the season from Piroe is playing him in the front two. And can you afford to do that?
This is what we're going to ask you, see. And I'm going to give Dillo an opportunity to speak here because us three has been rambling on for a little while. Oh, Dillo, our guest, has been sat here.
I was getting ready.
Good little boy.
I was getting ready to
just
jump.
Primed like a coiled string he is there. Just ready to
coiled string? Not a coiled spring, a coiled string.
Coiled string. Yeah.
Having a mare tonight.
Who's that string hanging out of?
That's just... There's a reason behind that, Jay. Come on, think about it. He's looking a bit flat, Jay.
I think for me, when it comes to Piroe, I have to agree, Gilly, to a certain degree. Okay, so if he isn't being utilised, get rid, because we've just been wasted. With certain transfers coming in, i.e., burnout, sitting on the bench, 5 million waste. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But then at the same time, I'm saying, everyone going off in the chat there saying, Dillo, sort of thing when it comes to Piroe. We're not playing to strengths. We Darren's been saying it as well. We need to be making sure that DCL starts. I agree, because he's the type of fella that can bring players into play. but we haven't done that.
Mm.
Well, how have we done that? So if that's not working, so we're actually not going to his strengths either because it's not working. So why don't you switch it around? Why don't you play Piroe off DCL? Mecha has the same build as DCL as we've seen, and you've said it as well there a few minutes ago. Mecha, for me, was on his arse for the majority of that game. Every time the ball came to him, he was just down. Now, great finish, can't knock it for him. It was a great finish, and that's something that we're lacking in. Now, Piroe doesn't do the running. I get that, and to be honest with you, it was actually a crazy statement. Oh, sorry, a crazy thing that I seen. At one stage when Piroe was on, he was deeper than what Stack was. Stack was higher. And I'm looking at this going, this is our main threat going forward as Joel Piroe, like 40 goals in 2 championship seasons. Why is he like clearly in our own half here? He should be the one getting on the end of them. So I think
it's probably still half baked running from the last counter attack. To be fair, I mean there has been a discussion. There has been obviously an argument to get Piroe more in the team. You know, and remember that when Aronson absolutely ballooned his opportunity against Burnley, and I tweeted, I went, Piroe bags that. They brought Piroe on, and he was absolutely fucking shit. Now you can put that down to as a complete lack of playing time, you know. But I've always countered that with, but they're still playing football. It's not like he just sat on a bench cutting lemons up and watching the rest of the lads train. He's still, he's still playing football. So yeah, it's one of them.
We're talking about Brendan Aronson there and the wings, and like I have to agree, lads. You know, I know Luke could probably lose altogether about this topic. You know, he'd be pulling his hair.
He'd be banning you. He'd be sending you out. Get out!
Yeah. Like, why can't we play with 3 at the back? Why can't we play with wing backs? If we don't have that kind of threat going forward, why can't we play wing backs? Play 3 at the back, 5 across midfield, 2 up front. Like,
because it's that overcautious thing. You're not going to get anything from Farke like that, the way.
No, I know. Like,
I feel like I'm coming at you a little bit, but it's just I understand what you're saying, and I'm totally with you. You know, I would love to see a sort of a change of a formation, should I say? Obviously, everyone would like to see us take a change in form. But yeah, that formation, I would love to see that. But it's that overcautiousness that we get from Farke, and the fact that when we do obviously try and turn over that possession, etc., and we try and keep hold of the ball, we just don't. We get nowhere with it, and we've got not one single player, probably apart from Okafor, but he has his limitations as well. Maybe Nonto whenever he's fit. We don't have anyone to progress the ball. There is no one there.
Except Goodmanson, because that was a hell of a run, and nobody got up with him.
Goodmanson and Boga, but they're limited as well, because obviously all of a sudden you're missing your defender, and the
you won't be with 3 at back.
Those three in the midfield that are supposed to obviously pull back and help the defence aren't fucking talking to the defence. It's like a frigging no man's land. It's like our defence and midfield are Germany and the fucking allies in the frigging war, and they're like shooting at each other.
It was some run,
you do it.
It's like that bit on Cyprus where no one can go in middle.
It was actually some run over Gabby.
Oh no, this is your territory, not mine. Wankers. So
I thought that run was unbelievable from Gabby. To be fair, me and Darren on the watch along sounded like we were in Cheltenham. You know, we couldn't believe it.
I do love watch alongs, to be fair, especially when it goes. The amount of noise that you both create, if we're doing a rare opportunity score, it goes.
Microphone cutting out and all sorts.
Yeah, exactly. It's too loud.
But if you think of we spoke about Okafor. For me, he's the difference maker. He's the one that wants to get on the ball. He gets double marked. He loses the ball quite a lot. I mean, Steve Brown there, Okafor was shocking. I think he's the one that tries to make a difference, and he's the one. He's got very, very quick feet. He's not quick over the ground, but he's got really quick feet, and they don't like defending against him. And he's constantly got 2 men on him, and he's played in the 10/9 role in the past. He's played in there before. So there's an argument to play Piroe in there, but there's also an argument that the player that's looked most dangerous at this level in this season so far could play there. And then you're getting your wit from Goodmanson and Bogle, and you're putting less emphasis on them in defence if you're playing 3 at back. I think that works. And,
I'll try something.
Ampadu's clever enough from a football IQ perspective to be able to be the anchor with 3 behind him. I don't see an issue at all there. You're asking a little bit more of his midfield partner, and there is a potential that you get overrun in midfield only playing 2 in there instead of 3. But you have to impress your game on the opposition, and doing
Got
something
overrun
a bit.
back with 2 in midfield against Forest anyway.
Well, we had 3
You
in
were
there,
completely
and we
ineffective.
still got
That's what I'm
overrun.
saying.
And
They had
MG
two,
Double
we
were on
had
his
three,
own.
and we still got overrun. So it's like, well, fucking hell. You know, we've got 3 big units in centre of midfield who are supposed to be like a chuffing wall. We've got 2 bigger units behind us in Rodon and frigging Biol, and an absolute unit in chuffing net. Piroe, by the way, some absolutely class saves. A lot of people have been saying, "Oh, he's shit," and he's parrying it into
that Warpaw though.
and stuff. That one thing, yeah, but I mean, fucking hell.
So you're right. You do, not overall a bad performance, but that was pretty poor. But yeah, I mean,
mention this.
So
might end up in the back three.
That's stacking the back three as well if you're playing him at 6, because I'm fucking not having that a 6 is a midfielder. It's definitely a centre half.
You and your fucking numbers. You and your frigging numbers. I've got an update from Bryn, by the way. I've asked him why he's not running his shit takes in the comments, and he says, I'm at a Chris Kamara Wakey Hospice do. He's at a Chris Kamara event.
Nice.
Charity. But he says, I do have a quote for the pod, and it's #FarkeOut.
No secret there.
There we go. Revelation.
But even go back to Brighton, I said it as well, you know, with the 3 in midfield. We got hammered 3-0. We didn't show any
totally
character
outplayed.
at all or leaderships at all. So I was kind of saying, why don't you just get one of the midfielders gone? Play someone else somewhere else. Just try anything. Just try and get a goal. Try and win. Do something instead of just wait
do something.
a minute until you know that you're going to predict the subs that are coming on. Or then he goes and brings Jack Harrison on, you know, a left back for Gabby Goodmanson, and you're looking going. And to be honest with you, lads, that's actually the reason why I want them gone. At 2-1, when they scored their second goal, if you actually watch my reaction, I was annoyed, but at the same time, I was like, right, I actually feel there's a bit of fight in this. I think we can get back in this. Even if we get a draw, I'll be actually happy. And when I seen that sub, my face dropped, and then I just knew that this is going to end badly. Whether they're going to score 3-4 goals, this is going to end completely and utterly shit. And it did. It did. Yeah. And that right there for me is the reason why Farke should go, for just bringing Jack Harrison on the left back. That's ludicrous.
Why didn't he bring Justin on?
Exactly. 10 million sitting on the bench. Yeah. Like, that's madness. Like.
And he'd done all right when he's been on.
Yeah, he has.
Is it giving you fucking amnesia, these new medication of yours?
Mate, I can't remember half it.
Hello, it's nice to be here again.
I told you I've had a very tough day today. This is not therapy.
Right, I'm going to fly through a few of these starred comments because there's some belters in here. We'll flick through them really quickly. Steve Brown says, our midfield 3 are too similar. They're all occupying the same area of the field and lack pace. Once they get bypassed, they can't cover back. Ampadu culpable for the first 2, in my opinion. Absolutely spot on. Cracking one from the Stoned Priest. Is this Carl? This will be Ampadu's 4th relegation if we carry on like this. Fucking hell, that's an absolute corker, is that? I just think, yeah, Jesus Christ.
God. Maybe
again, Carl's burner account. This Mojo King Stone Priest, whoever you are. I'm sure you're not stoned. Whatever. Should be sacked just for his emotional fans bollocks. Absolute wanker of a statement, that wasn't it? It's not the first time he said it, though, is it? He said it last year as well when we were having a bit of a wobble. This is they're very emotional fans.
We're allowed to be upset when it's shit.
We're allowed to be emotional, Daniel, when you seem to be losing the plot.
Costs us a fortune, mate. We'll feel whatever we want.
I've already flashed this one up. Mark Barlow is in the chat and says Nonto and Piroe have hardly kicked a ball in the first team. I think Nonto's very much in the
that's why I started this one
office most of the time. If we could sell them both and bring in 3 or 4 who Farke, if he stays, would like to play. So yeah, so we should do it. Would you get rid of Nonto, boys? Dilo, would you get rid of Nonto if it brought some cash in?
Oh, sorry, go on, Dilo.
From a PSR perspective, possibly if it means bringing in someone to similar quality or if not better. But he's kind of, you could say, as you said, Okafor and Nonto are kind of our main, DJ you probably say as well, our main kind of Stardust quality, if that's what you're trying to say. So I want to say no, because I don't really like getting rid of players that I like, but from a PSR perspective, if needed. But then, you know, as Gilly said, which I'm not against, by the way, if we're not going to utilise Piroe, we'll then send him on his way. So...
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't want to get rid of Piroe. Yes, possibly, if the price is right. But Nonto is no. I would like to keep Nonto. I think he will have, once he's over his injury issues, etc. I think he'll have a lot to offer. Gilly,
I think it's a bit mad to have a go at him for not kicking a ball in the first team when he's been injured for 8-9 games.
I don't think he were having a go. I don't think Mark were having a go. I think he was just saying, you know, obviously Nonto and Piroe haven't kicked a ball. Obviously, forgetting the fact that Nonto's been injured for quite a decent length of time. But if you opportunity, I mean, from like you said, Dillo, from a PSR point, it's an absolute gold mine that Nonto's sell. What it cost us 3.2 million. He's selling for what, 25?
No, I don't think get more than that.
But then again, well, that said, what would you have to spend to get in some sort of quality midfielder that's going to add to, that attack? Is it going to be someone that's better than 25, 30 million? Are you going to get a player that's that, for that price better than Nonto? Probably not. Once Nonto's firing, he's going to be a real addition to this team.
So West Ham got Somerville for 25.
I guess he's trying to say we've not really seen him, so we're not going to miss some kind of thing. If you want some money from somewhere,
even West Ham don't like him.
Yeah, but we're desperate for Nonto back, aren't we? That's the point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd love to see Nonto out on the right wing. Like I say, I always do. Yeah, well, I think he starts for me, Nonto, in this.
Yeah, me too.
In this side, over Dan James. Dan James is at that firm second, and then Aronson, who was playing most of the games, is absolutely down the line.
And it should
be an impact sub if you case that little fucking mosquito kind of annoying fucking player. Will you just fuck off and leave me alone? That sort of player that can just buzz around people. Isn't
it mad though that we've all been like desperately waiting for Dan James to come back, like he's the saviour? Like how did we end up in this position?
I'm not signing any new wingers.
And we can't.
The
board have absolutely.
We spent 10 million on Justin James, and we spent 5 million on Borneo. And they're sitting on the bench.
I'd rather see Gilly and his fucking ham cheese frigging hamstrings back in centre back than that dipstick.
And you might as well just be driving up. Might as well be just driving up the M1 with just throwing money out the windows. That's all I see.
Setting fire to it all. Yeah.
But for Piroe, I think you get at least 15 million for Piroe. I think you get pushing 28, 30 for Nonto. That's some money to go spend to bring in numbers. But I'd rather have Nonto in the team than sell him. I get there are PSR considerations. I absolutely get that, but I'd rather have him in team than gone. It's just about getting him fit. The fact that we've not had either James or Nonto, that's if you look at the Championship, the fact that we had Ampadu and then he got injured and then his replacement got injured and Tanaka came in and never missed a beat. Well, we've not been able to do that in the Premier League because it's fucking different class. You can't do it there. Other players, Tanaka coming in absolutely blew me away because I was like, how can we gamble that much? Because for me, it still was a gamble because he'd not played at this level before. He'd not even played at Championship level before. I think being in that position where it was still a gamble. Gamble worked absolutely. Hold my hands up. Gamble worked. It was class last season, no problem. That's very different to starting Aronson in Premier League. It's just not right. And you could see that before the season started. He was legitimately the worst player in the division last time we had him. And here we are again, and we're struggling again. I don't give a fuck what Luke says. We're playing him and we're struggling.
Scooby-Doo says, as much as 15 million probably is wise to take for the player we don't play, how wise is it to get rid of one striker who isn't a crock and has a good goal scoring record? But like you said, we've already covered it. It's getting that opportunity. It's getting to those positions. And as much as we love to bash DCL and majority of the time, it's actually worth bashing him for because he's not the best in front of goal. It's that opportunity to actually score, and it's that service from the wings. You're not getting it from the right wing, and it's limited to what you're getting from the left. Any manager that's looking at our squad thinking, right, Okafor's clearly one of their only threats, really, apart from a long out ball to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who will then look to, obviously bring in other players around him. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin ain't going to be bagging people. I think even Luke said, he'll get you 10 goals this season. I don't think he'll even get 5. Calvert-Lewin.
He hasn't in previous seasons.
I mean, obviously, with hindsight, it's a wonderful thing because we've seen it. But I said right at the start, I was so underwhelmed and disappointed that we signed him. And even more so when the window closed and we found out, fucking hell, this guy's going to be our number one striker.
He's a marquee striker, Smarty. That was the word that they were using.
Oh, sorry, that's the right one. Yeah, international marquee signing.
Darren actually said it yesterday, and it got me thinking, that's what we were basing off was DCL and Meche. Both free.
I'd play Meche, me. I just think he's got something more about him in front of goal.
I think
Calvert-Lewin's unmatched in air. Sorry.
Yeah.
I genuinely think I don't think DCL was in the books. I think there was another. I can't remember the other guy we were linked with. That fell through, and then all of a sudden DCL just popped up. So it was kind of like
as a freebie,
you'll do
as a pacifier.
We'll take you, sort of thing. Like dog, I think Mecho, like it was free, and you take them and etc.
So Muniz at Fulham were the one we were heavily linked with, wasn't it? But that was a 40 million move. I mean, that,
top of the league.
And how many has he scored? How many has he scored this season so far?
Well, he's been injured as well, hasn't he?
Exactly.
That's why we wanted him. Fits our profile.
You're DCL. Here's 40 million.
Get in. Come on, lad. Look at this lovely treatment table. All cushioned, heated. Brilliant. On you get.
Skip says, would have bringing in a creative number 10 alleviated some of these performances?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, it would.
Yes,
we wouldn't have had to play Aronson, and we'd have carried a threat.
A proper number 10.
Yeah.
The evasive number 10 that we haven't had since Pablo left us.
Proper number 10s can carry sides through a game because they carry a threat, they bring other people into play. It's such a massively important role in any side, is having that creative force. Now, Okafor's doing fairly well from the wing, but he can't do it all on his own, and he's out on the wing. So, you need somebody inside. If you had somebody that was capable of dictating play, running the game, like Pablo, albeit at the championship level, but like Pablo did for us, if you had somebody capable of doing that, I think that you see a lot more from Okafor. Rutter is he's not pulling up trees at Brighton, but he's doing all right. That's better than we've got. He did very, very well for us. In the Championship
League, he would do much better for us.
That's the point I'm making. Is I think if you had him in the centre, you'd see a lot more from Okafor, and we're carrying a threat that we're just not carrying at the moment because we've got three in midfield that are decent.
No one to progress that ball.
Yeah, and you're looking at Stack and Longstaff to kind of fill in and do that 8-10 role between them, but that's not their game. They've not done that. So I don't know. That's why it's important we get Nonto back and Dan James fit and firing so that we can carry a threat from the wings because it's not coming from anywhere else in this formation.
You've received a little bit of criticism in the comments, Gilly, from a man called Vic Vinegar. And it says, 30 million on Nonto, a smiley face.
Yeah, I mean, the club said that if a Middle Eastern club were interested in him, it were going to cost them 50.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure we get it, but yeah.
Whether we get it.
No, but if the club are saying that, then 30 million's not out of the question.
Yeah.
Based on selling, I mean, to be fair, they did well with Nonto and Archie Gray, but those were two. Obviously, they were capped at that sort of price, weren't they?
Rutter,
Rutter and Archie Gray.
Yeah, you said Nonto.
Did I? Sorry. Rutter and Archie Gray. They were obviously lifted. They had their price met or whatever.
But we also sold Somerville for 25 million when we were a Championship side. We're now a Premier League team.
Yeah.
So
but that's what I'm saying is those were the 3 release clauses. They were hit, and that way.
Oh no! I get where you're coming from. I'm still sticking on the 30 million being funny for Nonto when we got 25 million for Somerville from Championship.
But when you look at selling our best assets, obviously the season before we got relegated in the first place, obviously of recent times, we got rid of Phillips and Rafinha. They went arguably cheaper than what we'd wanted to get them.
Yeah.
To lose them for, should I say?
Yeah.
Do I have faith in the 49ers getting some decent money for that sort of player? Probably not. Nonto is raring and ready to go like a coiled string. No, I think he's more like a coiled spring.
Danny says Zurich have got a 40% sell-on clause on Nonto. Wouldn't help your PSR.
Nah, surely not.
Never.
I mean, still. Well,
might explain why we're so cheap for the purchase.
That's the first time. I've seen. Well, yeah, you don't know, do you? You don't know the ins and outs. I don't claim to be ITK. That's the first time I've ever seen or heard that. I'm not saying it's bullshit. It might be true. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, we've rambled on.
I'm just looking. Before you move on,
I found the 15%.
FC Zurich's president has revealed that there was
40% is an exceptionally high. Substantial could be anything up north of 3 or 5%, though.
Oh, it could, yeah, but there's something there by the looks of it.
So I'm seeing a 15%.
Anyway,
yeah, you never know ins and outs.
I can't. Well, like I say, who are we to disagree? It's an opinion at the end of the day. But like I say, if it's 40%, then fucking hell, that's a lot. I'm not saying you're wrong, Danny, at all. But yeah, I think we've done some damage today. I mean, I feel like we could probably have part 2 tomorrow. We're not going to, but yeah, I think this is gonna go on for a few weeks. In it, like I say, we've got the internationals to get out of the way. Probably luckily for us. Hopefully, Daniel Farke is busy flogging the boys as we speak. But then again, all the decent ones have gone to international duty, so hopefully no injuries are picked up there. They got 15%. What did he say? They got 50% sell-on fee when he signed, and there's no 40. There's no 5%. No. Oh well,
fair enough.
I think the up and down of it is we don't know.
We don't know. Hopefully, he doesn't go anywhere. We're going to chuff and need him. You know,
that goes for anything on this pod.
Yeah, pretty much.
We'll never know.
We'll probably end up selling Nonto and getting Luke Varney or something on Berardi.
Come join us.
Comes back.
Come to the hospital wing. It's lovely and comfortable.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. Anyway, Dillo, thanks for popping along. Obviously, sat there like a coiled string.
Couple of things though before we finish off. A couple of things if we can. First one is I am wearing an Andy's Man Club shirt tonight because I am running my blood to water at the moment. Fat shit that I am. Because I'm running the Abbey Dash 10K in Leeds at the end of the month on behalf of Andy's Man Club. So I will be sharing the link, and I would appreciate if anybody can share, like it, do all of that stuff online. And if you've got a bit that you can chuck into the pot, if you could, please. And just as an extension of that, I've also got the standard run through. If you want me to do that now, Smarty?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, why not?
So if you're going through a storm and have recently been through one and you're a man over 18, perhaps Andy's Man Club Leeds may be able to help you. With venues in Horsforth, Kirkstall, Pudsey, Central Leeds, Hunslet, Seacroft and Morley, open 7pm to 9pm every Monday barring bank holidays. They also run weekly and monthly social events with the aim to get men talking and to smash the stigma around men's mental health. Details of the venues and everything they're doing is at Andy's Man Club Leeds Facebook, so give them a follow and help spread the word.
Indeed. Like I say, we will be. It'll be next week now, won't it? I'm not really sure who's going to be on that. I think it's me, possibly Jay or Carl and Luke. That'll be doing the main pod next week.
Let me tell you.
I dare say that obviously the Farke stuff will be ongoing. Like I say,
it is me hosting,
is it really?
and I am joined by Carl and Luke.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Excellent.
I hope to be Luke, because then you'll be able to have like an hour debate about why Farke shouldn't be sacked.
He might be gone by then.
He might be.
I think it might even be a bit of a stretch even for Luke, but you know the happy clapper that he is.
We'll see, won't we?
We will convene again next week, and we'll see what he's got to say for himself. But thank you everyone for joining us in the comments again. Thank you three, especially you, Dillo, for spending some time and coming and having a chat with us tonight. It's very much appreciated.
Top man.
Look after each other. Like I say, hopefully, we'll get back together next week and we'll discuss what's going on in and around the club. But like I say, take care of each other. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week.
It's all the know better. We all the know much better than letting Carl go on with Jay. Luke's calling out bad weathers, and Smarty is no better, and Gilly gets fan mail again. But every time we go live,
shit take has been
can't speak or even tell the time.
It's more a toys out the pram.
It's all the
if I see his mother in
we
the
all know
stands,
much better.
I'm
this
gonna crack
is
an egg
show for tonight. And if you like these weapons and you don't think that balance, please go check out our merch site. Good night.
Little tosser, and I hate him. He's shit. He's average, and he's a shit house.